to the pop culture cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for joining us each and every week as we cover the world of pop culture as only we can, each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts and on radio stations worldwide. Always a big shout out to the radio stations that still play our shows each and every week, and to those listening around the world and watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, on Humanity Media, on the Pop Culture Cosmos, wherever you're catching us. We cannot thank you enough for so many years now, 9 years of covering the world of pop culture as only we can right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But it wouldn't be a pop culture cosmos without my good friend. Indeed, he is the man behind so many great things. The plucky gamer for your esports entertainment. He is building a esports team galore, including a focus on Pokemon as well. So if you're in the Texas area, right there as far as Waco or just beyond, go ahead and check out the plucky gamer and be a part of that today. Plus also as well, the happy hoarder and Humanity Media as well. It is Josh, the magnificent Peterson. What's up, man?
I'm building an empire. All right.
It sounds like it. I think Darth Vader said the same thing.
Yes, except I won't be cutting people's hands off because they need them to play video games. So I prefer you keep your hands attached to your arms or your wrist. Speaking of video games, though, and years, as a matter of fact.
Well, let's just say, in your first competition, and if you guys are doing well, do you go in the background, good, as the Emperor would? Good.
Yes. And that Palpatine voice. Speaking
or at least
of
the clone of Palpatine. Yes.
This is true. Yeah, but I'll have to be like attached to a machine or something, and be the clone of Palpatine. Did he ever come off that thing? He was stuck in a pod, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, I think he came out of it. Yes.
Okay. I don't remember, man. That movie's so insignificant.
Yeah, that's the famous ad.
Maybe one day I'll give those sequels another try, but not anytime.
Oh dear God, do something better, man. Do something better.
Yeah, I got better things with my time. 28 years ago yesterday was the release of the original Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation 1. So talk about years going by in the blink of an eye, man. I still remember going to the store and buying that thing brand stinking new. Crazy.
Yes, I can imagine. So crazy indeed. So many years since Final Fantasy becoming just a
household,
I guess, just a pillar of the video game world, indeed. So, which we'll talk about as far as a lot of video games being thought of now in the realm of Hollywood. Quite a few movements last week in the world of Hollywood talking about utilizing video games. And I would imagine, my friend, Final Fantasy is probably going to be on the radar sooner or later. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later in the show as far as what is going to come out, what is being developed, what has been announced recently, and more. So we'll go ahead and talk about that coming up on the show. Plus, also, Josh and I have got to get you updated on our trek through the MCU. We're up to the X-Men because that is now part of the MCU contingent. So we'll go ahead and talk about that. I put in the last second just now, Josh. I don't know if you caught it last week, the first detailed look at 007 First Light. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on that. Alien Earth, you got to get an update. I think Josh is really liking what he sees with Alien Earth, and he'll go ahead and tell you why here in a little bit. And we now have a direction more so for Superman as far as a sequel announced, Man of Tomorrow. We'll go ahead and talk about that if that's a good idea about what they're doing with the DC universe. That's coming up on the show as well. Hollow Knight Silksong, that might be the game of the year. We'll talk about how well that's being received at the present time. That's coming up here on the show as well. But first, my friend, I would be remiss that on the first weekend of NFL football coming back out there, we got a surprise at the box office. The box office, which has not seen the kind of success that I think that a lot of people were hoping for this summer, got a little bit boosted at the very end by Weapons, but they thought that this would be a bleak September going into the final part of the year, even though there's a lot of really interesting films, I think, that are coming out, especially this upcoming week. I think there's going to be a little bit of a battle there, but I don't know if it'll garner to huge numbers outside of Demon Slayer. And with that, Conjuring the Last Rites, that just hit on a different scale for a horror movie, my friend. I cannot believe how well it did. Well beyond expectations, as far as I guess 83 million domestically and 187 million globally over the weekend is one of the highest debuts worldwide ever for a horror movie, and the 7th consecutive release for Warner Brothers as far as above $40 million. So if anybody in this bleak box office output, which has not garnered too much over last year overall, Warner Brothers seems to be having the best year of anybody out there. So, it didn't start out great with Mickey 17 and the Alto Nights, but with that, my friend, The Conjuring Last Rites, these horror movies, man, in September, I remember it scored well this time of the year as well.
If you think about it, though, Warner Brothers has a lot of. I think Warner Brothers is probably like one of the best set studios when it comes to having big franchises and successful properties. But let's take a minute to think about how The Conjuring did not start out as the horror movie juggernaut that it is today. How many missteps did they take, right? So Conjuring 1 was pretty good, but it was like they're just getting their feet wet. Conjuring 2 was good. Then they had a lot of missteps with like the Annabelle movies and the Curse of La Llorona. Like they tried a lot of different things until they finally got it right, which is what they seem to have done with Conjuring Last Rites. So I'm sitting here debating whether or not like I want to watch this movie in theaters or I want to watch it at home where I could turn the lights on.
Yeah.
The trailer in itself looks terrifying.
It does, but it's that catch, right? It's that catch that gets The Conjuring, lures you in. A lot of people are just really, really up on this franchise. And no matter how much it was the Curse of La Llorona and also as well with Annabelle, all these movies have made money, Josh. I understand that you say they've not been a great detour creatively. They've all made money. They're able to go ahead and produce these movies. Well, actually, it's a little bit more expensive now.
There was
I
one
think
more,
that,
right, with Eric Bana, where he was the cop. Right, this was another one of the stories by
yes,
Lawrence. I forget what that one was called though.
but it's branching out. That Conjuring tree has branched out
Yeah.
since that first movie. I mean, but they've been able to create a whole universe with it, and in doing so, they've done so without beating people to death or getting fatigue from it. That's the best part about this, Josh, is that they've been able to do this without garnering movie fatigue like we've seen with other franchises, Marvel, for instance. So that's the thing. That's the trick. That's the thing that I think Warner Brothers really has to hand it to themselves is they've been able to go ahead and branch this out. Maybe not creatively the best decisions by making it different movies other than The Conjuring, but they've been able to go ahead and do this. And Last Rites, I think that's very inappropriately titled. And guess what? It's not going to be The Last Rites after all, Josh. There's heck no, it will not be the last Rites after all.
Yeah, because so from what I understand, did they confirm there's another sequel coming out?
Well, I think that this past weekend's
Yeah.
performance was pretty
Because
much.
from what I understand, like based on the Warrens, like this was the last case that Ed and Lorraine did before I think Lorraine passed away, like shortly after this one was done.
Yeah, that's correct. But they'll find something,
Oh,
a
I'm sure.
prequel. Or, I might you Warner Brother. If you're the movie studio, you can't let it go now. You absolutely cannot let it go, even though it's supposed to be on a Avengers game, Endgame high note type deal. I mean, come on,
Well, wait.
seriously. Between
Let's
you and
wait.
I, would you really let it go?
No, well, I mean, honestly though, wait until this whatever that comedian guy is that bought all the Warrens like haunted stuff. Like, give it a couple of months, and I'm sure there'll be a horror story to write about what is probably going to happen to that guy.
I mean, it just absolutely just kind of shocked the box office, especially on the fact that it was NFL's first weekend. That's what amazing to me is because again, you usually see traditionally lower numbers on that, but they were able to go ahead and able to really get that out there and get the. In fact, they didn't even have to do a whole ton of advertising on it as well, the promotional work. Just the name, The Conjuring. We're at a point, Josh, where that has become a franchise, a horror franchise right up there. You got to say with all the greats at this point in time, you have to consider Conjuring as one of the great horror series of all time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it has like I said, it's become a household name for horror fans, and every movie they put out has been a solid box office hit. You know, in the main Conjuring line of movies.
So they're going to have to figure out creatively how to work that out because obviously the money is still there with the Conjuring Last Rites, but absolutely just a great success story on that. So we're looking forward to more, I guess, branches from the Conjuring. Do you see more Annabelle with it? Do you see something else like a side story in and of itself, just relating to the Conjuring? What do you see for the Conjuring franchise going forward?
I don't know. I mean, the Nun was already a prequel to The Conjuring, and you had
Oh,
the Annabelle side stories, which I think are they're telling the origins of the doll, and then I mean, I don't know who's to say they don't have more things in the Warren collection that merit merit having a story told about it. We don't know, man. I mean, I'm sure where there's a will, there's a way. Warner Brothers will figure it out.
I just can't believe the success of this
Oh, also,
franchise.
also,
So many iterations in, Josh.
yeah, yeah, and there's a YouTuber in charge of all of their stuff now. So I mean, obviously, there's going to be more movies.
No way Warner Brothers leaves it out on the table while they're getting still good. So
Yeah.
let me hear your thoughts out there on Conjuring the Last Rites. Truly appreciate you joining us for that. If you have thoughts on the success, the worldwide success of Conjuring the Last Rites, we would love to hear your thoughts on it because, again, the great success of this movie has meant big success for Warner Brothers as they now have 7 straight movies. I think that's a record from what they were saying over the weekend as far
Mhm.
as 7 straight openings over $40 million. Now, you have your thoughts on it. We'd love to hear it. Please let us know. Do you think The Conjuring, The Last Rites should be the last rites for the Conjuring series, or do you think there's a lot of life, pardon that pun right there, as far as horror is concerned, life left in the Conjuring series? Do you think it should branch off? Is there any more stories for the Warrens that's out there that you need discovered or you need talked about or you need shown on a movie format? Or do you think it should go into side stories and whatnot? Please let us know your thoughts on The Conjuring, The Last Rites. Please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, going into video games now, one of the things that we like to do and see is we like to see really good quality games at a really good price being sent out there into the marketplace. And we just got that, my friend, as the follow up for Hollow Knight, one of the great 2D platformers in video game history. 15 million sold was announced earlier this year as far as overall for that original Hollow Knight. And it took a while. It took quite a few years as far as from one to the next. And they recently came out with Hollow Knight Silksong, which you can get available today for just $20, a bargain for a game that lasts 15 to 20 hours long from most estimates out there and most reviews that I've seen. And also on Game Pass, by the way. That's a nice little tidbit for Xbox once again. And another advertisement why you should get Game Pass out there, because it is still the best value out there in gaming. And proving more so with Hollow Knight Silksong. Your thoughts, my friend, because it is garnering absolutely fantastic reviews. It's really hard for the sequel to get anywhere near, close, or parallel to the success of the original. But there's a possibility that this particular Hollow Knight Silksong, after so much anticipation, will do just that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing really great things. I haven't played it, so I can't really speak to the game itself, but I'm hearing great things. I'm also hearing that it's really hard. So if you're a gamer who likes those kind of games, the platformers, this is going to be definitely right up your alley, and it sounds like it's going to be quite the challenge too. A 6-hour game, but could take a lot longer to beat depending on how skilled you are at managing some of those levels.
Absolutely. And again, just the way that they've gone about it, a lot of anticipation. I could not believe, Josh, heading into this in the months, the years heading into it, people were just clamoring for this game. I understand how great, and I understood at the time when it was released how good a platformer was, but I didn't know it had the staying power, Josh, that there would be such a demand for this sequel. And in doing so, that it just seems like it's hit on all cylinders. It's the win-win situation where you have that anticipation, that kind of build. It finally came out. In fact, a lot of it was tiered alongside the Xbox handheld. It's really when it got its really announcement as far as when it was coming out and things of that nature. The Xbox handheld, it was being shown utilizing it and being able to play it, and people got really excited about that part of it. But yeah, Hollow Knight Silksong has really just done a number. It's gone really. I don't know. It's gotten to the point where it's found its own niche and its own success so far. A lot of people are asking if I played it. A lot of people are asking if people are playing it out there. It looks like it'll be another great success for Hollow Knight Silksong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely foresee there being more games in this franchise. So it's always nice to see one of the small indie producers come out on top for once.
And once again, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Team Cherry has done an outstanding job of being able to go ahead and they hit lightning in a bottle with the first one. And you're always worried, Josh, when you go ahead and you hit lightning in the first time around, can you repeat it? And the video game world, we often are just so harsh on sequels to games that we love. But this time around, it looks like from all cylinders, it's going to be another fantastic showing. Like you said, it does look very difficult as the first, if not more so. So it is going to be a challenge for a lot of people out there. But for $20, that's the part I get the most. Is they could have, as a sequel to a 15 million seller, could have jacked up the price to twice as much for this game and still gotten a lot of people to buy it. Yet they chose to go ahead and put this at a very reasonable price and make this something that a lot of people can go ahead in this economy and still spend money on and get a great value from.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we go back to talk about this a lot, but the best value in gaming, right, is the currently on Game Pass. I mean, look at this. You get this game. A lot of people are like, oh, if I don't want to spend $20 on it, you just download it on Game Pass and play it.
Absolutely. Among the other things that are out there coming on Game Pass and whatnot. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing the continued reception for it. Again, the reviews are just starting to flow up, but I did see a couple already, including 110 that's out there. So you might want to start marking it down for a possible Game of the Year contender with Hollow Knight Silksong. I know that our good friend Brank would probably be, or if he's not already touched this, he's going to be playing the heck out of this as well. So definitely looking forward to seeing what is going to go on with Hollow Knight Silksong. But yeah, it seemed interesting because this is a platformer, Josh,
Yeah.
that looks like it's going to be able to transcend not just Xbox but PlayStation, but the Nintendo Switch as well. Nintendo Switch and Switch 2. It just seems like it's going to transcend all these platforms and provide a great experience on all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So
What
definitely
is
check that out, everybody.
Absolutely, Sam. Just $20. Again, $20 if you don't have an Xbox Game Pass account, or if you want to support Team Cherry, it's just $20. Or if you want to go ahead and you have a Game Pass account, just go ahead and boot it up there as part of one of the best values in gaming right there, Xbox Games Pass. But if you have thoughts on Hollow Knight Silksong, and is it already, in your opinion, the game of the year, please let us know. Pop Culture Cosmos at yahoo.com. But my friend, speaking of video games, I mean, there's a lot of projects that were announced recently because we've seen Hollywood now trend. It took a little while, Josh. Even during our days doing this show, it took a little while for Hollywood to really embrace the video game genre and make quality films or quality projects based in video game lore. But it now seems like, oh, all these studios have finally turned and focused their attention on video games. And in doing so, they've now are garnering and snapping up a lot of different projects and IPs. It's just a matter of time on Final Fantasy, in my opinion. I think at some point in time, somebody will, I'm assuming Sony or somebody will probably go ahead and snatch that up. But we heard last week the Call of Duty movie, I believe, was announced by Paramount, I think, if I'm not mistaken, which has spent a lot of money since the new changeover, and that does not go unnoticed. Life is Strange. I don't know if you heard that. That also got picked up as well. What your thoughts on first a Call of Duty movie and then Life is Strange?
It's the Call of Duty movie is weird to me because normally people don't like to watch those types of movies unless they're based on something real.
Mhm.
So what is Call of Duty going to do? Like, if you want a World War II movie, why would you watch a Call of Duty movie? When you could just watch Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, whatever. You know, a lot of the historical wars are. It almost feels disrespectful for Call of Duty to make a movie based on those. So I mean, they'd have to go future warfare or modern warfare, but I mean, again, like I struggle with that concept because a lot of those, again, like it just feels disrespectful. So it would have to be like a future warfare movie to really, get someone like my attention to, because I like historical films. But um, I'm struggling, man. The concept of a Call of Duty movie, I'm struggling with this because why? Why? Like, what? How are you going to get the people? People don't play Call of Duty for single player anymore. They play for multiplayer. So what? How are you going to get those people into the theaters to watch a movie of a game that they only play the multiplayer version of? They're not there for story. So what is going to drive them into the theaters?
I bet you they'll base a lot of it off of the most successful Call of Duty single player campaign, as far as going back. Bringing Soap character, bringing some of the other characters that we're familiar with from Call of Duty Modern Warfare at that point in time, Call of Duty 4 at that point in time. That was the most successful. That was the height of the creativeness as far as Call of Duty, which again was many, many years ago, but still, it's so revered and remembered. I have a feeling that's what they'll try to go to first and try to build from there. Yeah, at some point you're going to go to it, my friend. It's the one of the largest video game IPs of all time. At some point you're going to go there. It's just the basis as far as the modern warfare type deal. I mean, we've seen a ton of modern warfare movies over the years, my friend. So this doesn't seem like it's a large stretch to go ahead and try to utilize that IP and try to sell a movie out of it.
Yeah, I don't see how they're going to accomplish what nobody else in the past has accomplished, right? And they already have the stigma of being a video game movie. And again, most of the people that like Call of Duty, they're not there for story. They're just there to get into an arena and shoot each other. Like, it's not. I understand. I understand the principle behind it. I understand the concept of, like, oh, Call of Duty, big name IP, gonna translate to box office smash hit. And I don't think it's gonna work that way. Like, I see this movie coming out, and I see it barely, not even making. I see it 200 million tops, if that.
Okay, well, that might be the price tag for it for starters. So
Oh, then we won't see
that
another
means
one.
you won't see another one.
I'm just kidding, but I don't think it's gonna be successful, man.
Okay, all right. I think it's going to be, if it's halfway decent, I think it's going to earn quite a little bit, at least up front. I think it's going to, because of the name, it's going to have that advantage of it. So I think that even if it's garbage, it's still going to have that first week in there. But we'll see. We'll see who is going to go ahead and be able to watch this movie. But yeah, I have some thoughts on it. Paramount is looking to go ahead and invest in this. They've put a lot of money in recent times since the changeover. They bought the Duffer Brothers as far as bringing them over. They signed them to a contract after bringing them over from Netflix. You saw what they did as far as South Park and the money they put there as well. Call of Duty, I'm just saying, I'm not gonna put anything past what people will go for and see. And I think the first time, as a curiosity, I think the first one probably will get some numbers. Whether or not it makes a profit at the studio, we'll have to wait and see, because the budget, I'm sure, will be very high that's attached to it. I see at least 150-200 million dollars for this film so far to be made.
Yeah, I mean, they also look what happened with Halo too. So I mean, I'm not
Oh, man.
my faith in Paramount's ability to properly manage a video game property is not as high as you would think.
Touche. Touche on that one. That brought a shiver up my spine when you mentioned as far as that is concerned. But again, it is,
They're
of
gonna be
course.
like, here's the concept, guys. Call of Duty, but everybody's out of uniform. We just want the average life of a Call of Duty soldier, and it'll be a show like The Office.
Oh my gosh! Or it'll be called The Paper. Why don't you just call it The Paper? There you go.
Yeah.
But it is, of course, Call of Duty. But I also wanted to mention as well, before we head to the break, Life is Strange. Once again, your thoughts on Life is Strange, also being made into a picture. This one, obviously, both versions of Life is Strange. I mean, as far as Life is Strange, its sequel and whatnot, have done pretty good as far as video game series, well thought of as far as critically. Your thoughts on how it can be translated into a movie?
DJ, nice. What they do when not in the lobby. I appreciate that. Life is Strange, I think, will be better told as an episodic adventure as it is told in the game. So I don't think a movie is the proper platform for it. I think a streaming show is a better outlet for a story like Life is Strange.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you, because it just seems to fit that narrative a little bit better. So maybe it will evolve into a series, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think I'm not gonna. It's a TV series. Yeah, it is a TV series. You're right. It is a
Okay,
TV series. Just check it out.
then
Yeah,
that's
Amazon.
because the
Amazon.
games are all told episodically. Amazon also, I guess they're moving forward with the God of War series, so I'm really interested in how that's going to pan out, because that can either be successful like Fallout or an absolute disaster. And
And on top of that, my friend, speaking of that, you're right on that. Absolutely 100% on that. But they're also, I don't know, are they still doing the Mass Effect series? Obviously, I'm on pins and needles about that. They were the ones that I think secured the rights for the Mass Effect series. But also as well, my friend, as far as video game series, they just talked about how it's funny. Netflix just talked about how Tomb Raider with Haley Atwell is actually going by the wayside, and it's after a second season. It's ending after a second season with Haley Atwell, and
the Tomb Raider movie or show? When did that happen?
no, the cartoon series, this animated series on Netflix.
Gotcha.
But there's a live action series now being developed on Amazon that was also announced last week with Sophie Turner, which got me thinking. I don't know, Haley Atwell, wouldn't that have been better? Sophie Turner's voice probably would have been pretty good for the animated series, but is Sophie Turner instead of Haley Atwell for the live action series? I don't know. I kind of would have thought Haley Atwell was pretty.
She doesn't seem the right type for that. Like she's just, and this is just from watching Game of Thrones, but she seems like she's too fragile to play Lara Croft. But also I could be wrong. I mean, this could happen and she could completely blow my mind and expectations. But I will say that like she is British. So I mean, I think that is unlike Alicia Vikander, like in like Lara Croft has traditionally been British, like in the video game. So I mean, this could be good. I mean, it could be. I don't see anything like off the top of my head. I don't see anything wrong with this choice of casting. I've never seen her in anything outside of Game of Thrones, so I have no idea.
X-Men.
I never Oh, you're right. But those were bad movies, man. So this is
that's what I mean. That's my impression of that. That's why I'm saying, why didn't you just sign Haley Atwell to do the live action version? I thought
she's older, isn't she? Like maybe they want a younger Lara Croft.
She kicked butt in the Mission Impossible movies, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, they've had so many missteps with Tomb Raider, and like I just like it's one of those properties that's not going to be. There's no longevity to this property. I mean, it's going to have it's already had a lot of iterations, and it's going to have more iterations, I'm sure, as we go on. So I mean, granted, Amazon has handled Fallout fine, right? So it does magic strike twice, 3 times, 4 times, whatever? And I guess that's what we're all kind of waiting to see.
What are your thoughts out there on the latest batch of IPs from the video game world now being translated into Hollywood projects based off the success of Super Mario Brothers, Minecraft movie, Fallout, The Last of Us? Will these projects step into that continued right direction? Please let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But my friend, there is a movie-based IP and book-based IP that you're very familiar with, in 007, James Bond. Actually, an extended look on IGN got as far as us really going as far as 007 First Light. Your thoughts on this reimagining of young James Bond, almost like the Batman, and feels like the year 2 or 3 of James Bond. It looks like it's not the beginning, but close to the beginning, and how he, as a young man, starts to develop all those skills that we see. But it had a very, of course, Hitman type feel, but also an Uncharted feel as well.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. It looks good. I mean, it looks like it could be good. We've seen a lot of attempts at a 007 game in the past that did not pan out so well. So, it's possible that this could. It reminds me of like a mixture of, it's got Uncharted vibes. It's got a little bit of like Splinter Cell vibes. It's got a little bit of like everything that we could think of in the first person genre. It's got all of that. So I guess the big question here is, how do those elements all come together? And are you going to be able to tell a story that really captivates people wanting to play it? And then you also got to ask yourself about the multiplayer. Like, is it going to be, are we trying to recapture the glory of Days Gone By with GoldenEye, or are we going for something new? So, I mean, there's a lot I feel bad because 007 has a lot of pressure on it from all angles when it comes to video games.
Absolutely, indeed. So just wanted to throw that out there. I mean, it's not coming out till next year, but it is going to be something that we can look forward to before GTA 6. I believe it's coming out in mid to late March, if I remember correctly. So be prepared for 007 First Light from the makers of Hitman, IO Interactive. So absolutely, as far as the stealth aspect, I think that will be pretty good because obviously they have a basis there. But will the action, will the driving, will the actual other parts of the James Bond excitement that we know from the movies, will that be captured in this game? We'll find out. But go ahead. If you saw the already great look at 007 First Light, please let us know your thoughts. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com, my friend. But much to continue to talk about still to fill up the rest of the hour when it comes to Alien Earth, my friend. I will go ahead and hit you up on Alien Earth before we get to Man of Tomorrow. I know you're excited about this latest episode. I know you're excited about this series. I know this brings a lot of warmth to your heart. When you want to keep on bringing up a lot of episodes, you're like me. When I bring up continually during the course of the series how good it is, it's obviously leaving a great impression on you with Alien Earth.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's kind of like what I said on another recording that we did that I don't know if has been aired yet. They've done a great job of keeping the elements of Alien, but also bringing a story in that actually there's a human piece there. And you start to think as the more you get into the show that like, oh man, the aliens aren't the terrifying monsters the aliens aren't the monsters we should be afraid of. It's humans that we should be afraid of. And like they've done a great job of like crafting just a way to keep you interested episode after episode. And I don't know if you have watched. I mean, did you watch the last episode, the one that was on last week?
Yes.
That is probably one of the best, and it's an episode. It's probably one of the best alien movies I've ever seen because this tells the story of how the ship went from what happened to the ship in the beginning. They show in the first episode of Alien Earth, they show quick like glimpses for those of you who haven't seen it, quick glimpses of what's going on of this ship, the crew, and all of a sudden the ship just crashes into the earth. This episode focused specifically on what happened to the ship. So they go back to the story after 3 episodes into the show and they show you what happened to the ship, and it plays out like an alien movie. And it is actually really, really captivating how this all happened and interesting to see that, like, and especially when you get to that twist at the end of the episode, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like probably one of the greatest. Like Alien has never had a villain with a face, right? It's always been Wayland Yutani, whatever. Like it's been a corporation, never like a single individual orchestrating things. And it just that twist just made me go, oh my gosh, I really want to watch more of this, and I hate that I have to wait to watch it only once a week.
I'm glad it's leaving that impression for you, my friend, because you have long embraced the Alien IP as a whole. You've argued for some of the movies that maybe other people have not liked or appreciated as much. You've really been a big supporter of the Alien franchise, but I am so happy when I see your satisfaction with this. And I thought, again, I've had some little bit issues of just the context dumps, the exposition dumps that they continue to do at certain points at the wrong time in this. But the production value and the ambiance and the fact that this fits as far as an aesthetic in the world of Alien is great. You still can't convince me how this correctly fits in the timeline. I still kind of like befuddled on that. I think I've given up hope on that, on how it realistically. Yeah, because I really thought Sigourney Weaver's Alien movie was supposed to have been the really last time to the first time we're supposed to, humans were supposed to interact with the xenomorph and all that. But apparently that's not the case. And it's not the case by a long shot because they've changed that whole prequel story or story or timeline before Alien, the actual original Alien movie, has come out. They've just changed that entirely as far as interactions are concerned. So I know all bets are off from here, but as far as overall aesthetic, as far as what I'm seeing, I'm very impressed by what I see with Alien Earth.
So the timeline jumble, as you were saying a second ago, do you think that has anything to do with like why nobody has been willing to tackle an Alien movie that takes place after Resurrection?
I believe that could be a possible case, but at this point, it looks like Noah Hawley. I think, right? Correct. He's the guy behind it where we talked about doing this. And by the way, that segment did already air that we talked about from last week.
Okay.
It did air. I will say this though, to me, it's just the fact that I think Noah Hawley doesn't care at this point. He's just putting out good stories within the Alien universe, but I don't think he's so concerned about tying. It's like the Fast and Furious movies; they just don't care about tying it in.
No.
And it's so funny because I guess the leader of the studio said, "Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have gone into space with Fast and Furious."
Yeah.
You think? You think? So I don't know. At this point, it is what it is with the Fast and Furious. But that whole timeline's jumbled all over the place as well. People come back to life and whatnot. But I don't know. I was hoping the Alien franchise would keep its direct line through. But the only thing I'd say, does the success of Alien Earth, does the creation of Alien Earth, does that lessen the importance of the original Alien in your mind? Because it's kind of doing it for me.
I think that anytime you have a movie that was made a long time ago and you're creating a prequel to it that is new and fresh, that it's going to have that effect. Because look at Alien, this series significantly, even like Prometheus though, and Alien Covenant did it for me, like it significantly lessened the impact of Ripley finding the eggs, right? Because this one implies, the show is implying that Wayland Yutani already knew, or Wayland Corp, and that's another thing, right? Is in Alien 1, it's the Wayland Corporation, right? It's not Wayland Yutani, and that's who the ship is for. But Wayland Yutani is the leaders of Wayland Corporation right now. So I don't know. It's I mean, there's a lot
But
of
now
things.
there's 4 or 5 different competing ones.
Corporations, yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, the impact of Alien is definitely a lot less than it once was, and the fact that like they knew about the aliens and what happened in Alien 1 and 2 is not really like a surprise anymore. Like, oh, we knew about, and chances are, a lot of people, I don't know how the series is going to end, but it makes you wonder, like, somebody had to have seen a xenomorph running around a sub level in a city, right? I mean, that could not have stayed quiet. But anyways, like I think Ridley Scott said he's wanting to do one more Alien prequel, I guess, to kind of bridge the gap between Covenant and
why not at this point?
But that's the thing, like he wants to bridge the gap between Covenant and Alien Earth, and I think that's where they're gonna have to like take all the narrative strings and kind of tie them back together in a way that makes sense. So I guess that's what we're kind of waiting for right now.
I know that Andor for me was such great storytelling, especially season 1 and season 2 both had great storytelling. I would say both were among my favorites that each year that they came out. But one of the things it did for me, Josh, is that yes, it was a prequel, but it helped make me view Rogue One better. I enjoyed Rogue One more because of what I saw from Andor.
Yeah.
Alien Earth is good. It's actually really good. The production values on it are the things that blowing me away as far as the look and feel is so much like the original Alien, and it just fits right in from that aesthetic. And I'm not going to argue on that point. It makes it really enjoyable for a watch on that aspect alone. But the storytelling, which is solid, I have no question about that. And Timothy Oliphant, we talked about as well, is just killing it on the screen. I'm just, as far as the fact what it's doing, it's just not making the Alien and Aliens more enjoyable for me, as far as my thoughts on those two movies. Those two movies are still outstanding, but it's just, it's not helping the other movies. It's doing a great job of doing what it needs to do itself, but not doing a great job of helping set up the rest of the universe. If that makes sense to you, Josh.
Mostly due to the fact that like they're introducing new concepts in Alien Earth that were not present in the original Alien movies, even up to Resurrection. Like a lot of stuff that just wasn't there. Like they're creating new lore as they're going along, and it's not it. You sit there and wonder like, oh, what happened to this stuff during this time? You know, and I think it's just because Alien was never ever meant to be the massive science fiction series that it is today. I think it was just meant to be like, oh, it's a standalone Alien film.
Absolutely. So we will see what happens, but Alien Earth is still doing well. And we'll obviously get Josh's final thoughts on the series once it finishes up. But definitely looking forward to hearing your thoughts out there on Alien Earth. So please let us know, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But my friend, I know you caught wind of what James Gunn announced, as far as I believe in 2027 will be coming out, and that's Man of Tomorrow. Again, I'm still would question the way James Gunn is mapping out this universe. He's got Supergirl next year, Clayface again. You're going to have to really get a lot of people. You're really going to have to do a masterful sell job on Clayface in order to get people to buy and commit to that. But going back so soon to Man of Tomorrow without establishing yet all the other superheroes, for instance, Wonder Woman, will Wonder Woman be established by that time? Will Batman be established by that time? Will other major members of the DC fighting force be established by that time? Your thoughts, my friend, on going back so soon to a Man of Tomorrow?
It makes sense. I mean, from a studio perspective, from a money perspective, it makes sense to like, oh, the Superman was did well. Let's fast track another Superman movie. So I'll bet James Gunn felt pressure from Warner Brothers to do another one. Also, nothing about this new DC universe makes sense as of right now. So I know Jensen Ackles is in talks to play Batman. I don't know who the rumored Wonder Woman cast was. I know HBO has the Lantern series coming out, which is supposed to be the introduction of the Green Lanterns, outside of the one from Superman. So I don't know, man. But you know what's really weird is the fact that Peacemaker is the linchpin for this universe. Because I mean, in the last episode, he's jumping around dimensions. You know, like this is like he's
Who'd have thought John Cena would be the entire foundation of the DC universe?
Who would have thought? James Gunn, like, he has a really weird obsession with like the Suicide Squad characters, I guess, and like I don't understand why, but you can't make an entire universe based off of characters that don't take themselves seriously.
Okay. And that's the thing. Because now you're touching back by what happened. I don't want to put any spoilers out there. What happened with the latest Peacemaker is based, in essence, on that original, not the one that James Gunn did, but the original Suicide Squad. Correct?
Right. You get to see some characters that you haven't seen a bit, but
or being talked about characters.
Yeah. I don't I don't know, like they're trying this is what we talked about before though, right? With like a series like Star Wars or Halo where you have to go back and you have to read, there's sides, the main narrative of the universe is reliant on the side stories that people aren't necessarily paying attention to until you tell them to pay attention to it. So that's what Peacemaker is. He's a narrative, that he's the main narrative thread, but you don't know to look for it unless someone tells you, like, hey, go watch Peacemaker. This is the issue with having shows and movies existing in the same universe. And this is the same problem that Marvel has run into, right? There's a lot of things happening in the shows where you had to watch the shows to understand what was going on in the universe at large.
Well, if you can figure it out, Josh, I will try to as well. Again, Peacemaker. It just seems like the more you add in from the previous Snyder universe and let it bleed over into this universe, the less it becomes of James Gunn's universe. Does that make sense?
Yes, and but that's just the thing, right? It should have been a hard factory reset. There should have been nothing that was allowed to carry over. No Amanda Waller, no Suicide Squad characters, no Peacemaker. Like, it should have just been, like, for some reason James Gunn really, really likes that character and he just refuses to let go of it. But it should have just been a hard reset from ground zero.
You would have thought. I would have never started with an animated Creature Commandos. I never would have started, like I said, bringing in Peacemaker. I would have let the Batman finish out and do what they needed to do if you're not going to associate it with your universe. I just will let all the stuff lay itself out. But it seems like it's a case of Warner Brothers, DC, Peter Safran, and James Gunn, the guys at the head of the DC universe, wanting their cake and eat it too. He wants his parts of the DC universe that he helped create, the parts of the DC universe that he likes from the previous universe, and bring it over into his universe and help build that. So it just okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
help us make sense. A key to this whole episode, Josh, help us make these IPs make sense.
Yeah. Well, so the ending of like, I don't know what it was, but like, I was thinking about our chat about the DC universe a couple of weeks ago, and I started thinking back to like the ending of the Flash, and then all of a sudden the after credit scene in the Flash made sense to me. They weren't bringing George Clooney into the Snyderverse. They were taking all the DCEU characters and dumping them into the George Clooney universe so that they would have a clean slate for the James Gunn universe. Like, it never dawned on me that that's what they're doing. They're just basically taking it all and saying like, oh, we're moving you guys to this universe so that we can start over. Everybody except Peacemaker, apparently.
Apparently. And now, well, Rick Flag Jr., of course, leading to Rick Flag Sr., and all the characters from Peacemaker. And yeah, see who else is added in there. Again, that should be the theme of this show, from the Conjuring to what we talked about with of course, with the DC universe, Alien. Help us make sense of this, because it's really these timelines are just all.
And and then we have that other narrative thread way off in the distance. How is Keanu Reeves' Constantine going to fit into all this?
Exactly. Although he did say that he was up for another Cyberpunk, as far as that's concerned. So that's good news for
that. Yeah,
exactly. But what are your thoughts out there on the DC universe, as Man of Tomorrow is now slated for a 2027 release? Please let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But before we head on out, my friend, our continuing look at the universe known as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Something which in and of itself has not made sense at times, especially from the Fox point of view of it. Fox X-Men timeline has also been a little bit convoluted. So, but it started off on a decent note. X-Men wasn't a bad movie. Wasn't it's obviously a hit. Helped launch quite a few movies in and of itself. So tell us your thoughts on X-Men.
It's not a good movie, man. Like, I remember going to the theaters and watching it as a kid. Or no, I didn't see it in theaters as a kid. At that time, like, my parents were like, we don't want to sit in a movie and watch X-Men with you. So I had to wait till it came out on VHS. I think I still have the VHS tape lying around somewhere, actually. And I watched X-Men at home on VHS for the first time. And it's not a good movie, man. Like, it's the introduction of the characters is is what am I trying to say? It's done by somebody who clearly has no love of X-Men, has never read an X-Men comic book, never watched the X-Men cartoon. It was just done by somebody who wanted money, which is
He
Brian.
said that.
Yeah, and
Did he say that? Yeah.
he did say that. So the introduction of Hugh Jackman's character, like Wolverine, like that scene was really cool in the beginning when he's in the bar fight. All the stuff with like Anna Paquin, like that. I was found Rogue was pretty interesting. But let me ask you a question: do you think that Rogue was interesting enough to essentially make the main focus point of an entire trilogy of movies?
No character in that first realm was outside of what we saw with Wolverine. And not even Storm. Halle Berry's Storm wasn't given enough for the limelight to be able to carry that. Only Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I think they saw early on though that, yeah, like you said with Rogue, I get that, but no, I would not have built it around her. I don't think she was given enough for allow her to do that successfully on a creative level. But I think they saw right away what they had in Hugh Jackman.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like he was you watch that and you're like, wow, this like there's a lot of potential here, but the first movie is just not well made. And it's not just from like a story perspective. The story is really bland, but it's from just a whole filmmaking perspective too. Like the music is too loud, everything's filmed too dark. Like it's not I'm not talking about tone wise, I'm talking about just like actual colors. Like it's super dark. Like it's a rough watch, man. And like I think that X-Men 2 is a significantly better movie, and we'll talk about that at a later date. But this was X-Men 1 was definitely rough, man. It's definitely a product of a time when all movies were like that though. Like all action movies had that same feel, same look to it. And they're trying to take a movie that was based on a comic book and try to copy the trends at the time. And I don't think that it worked very well. Obviously it worked well enough to merit a sequel, but I just don't think, when you look at the quality of a lot of the superhero stories we have today, it's a night and day difference.
So X-Men, though, it was successful enough to go ahead and launch a franchise. So that is, you can't argue with that. No matter how well or not so well you perceive that film, Josh,
Yeah.
you cannot deny its success in launching that franchise, whether we liked it or not, because there's
Right.
some really bad X-Men movies. I'm just going to say that out loud.
Yeah. I mean, and oddly enough, one of the worst ones was based off of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. So, and again, we'll get to X-Men Origins Wolverine at another date and time. But yeah, I mean, I understand, like, because as a kid I watched, I was like, oh, that was such a cool movie. But as I'm older and I have more of an eye for like cinematography and storytelling and how the characters all come together, and I'm not just watching things for spectacle, I'm like, oh, this is definitely not great.
Absolutely. So what are your thoughts up there on X-Men? Please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Where are we headed to next on our trip through the MCU?
We are headed towards Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire as our next.
All right. Fair enough. Spider-Man 1 is our next stop. So please let us know where you want us to go with the MCU at popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Josh, been a great episode. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
I think we tackled it all, man. What was I going to say? I got a rogue ally, so I've been messing around with that, and I got to say, man, it's a computer. It's a computer with video game controls like physically attached to it. Like I was expecting it to be like a have its own operating system and a menu and all that, but it's literally like I could install Microsoft Word onto this thing if I wanted to. It's just really caught me off guard when I turned that sucker on.
So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's a beautiful day in paradise right here in the pop culture cosmos. Thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.